Shalom everyone and Shavua Tov. We are right now in Parashat Tetsave. Last week we had Parashat Truma, and that was kind of a opening introduction to Parashat Tetsave because they're dealing somehow in the same topic. Last week's parasha was Parashat Truma, and Parashat Truma was about building the Mishkan, the portable temple the Israelites had in the desert. And this parasha is about the Kohanim, the high priest, and their work in the temple. So it starts with Ve'ata Tetzaveh, and you should order the Bnei Israel, the Israelites. We are in Exodus chapter 27, verse 20. Ve'ikhu elecha, and they should take for you shemen zait zach, pure olive oil. Katit lamaor, cold press for the eternal candle. And now it speaks about the lighting of the candle, and then the next thing is, we'll see why. It looks like it should be backwards, because then in chapter 28, verse 1, and you should bring to you Aaron, your brother, and his sons from all among the children of Israel, lechanoli, to become anointed as the Kohanim, as the priest. Okay? Vasita b'yidei kodesh la'aron achicha ulchavod tiferet, and you make holy clothes for Aaron, the priest, and his sons. And then comes the description of the artwork of the priest. So why, the question is why, since the Kohen is the one that lights the candles, why the story of the of taking the oil is before the Kohen? And we'll see why. And now there's a description of the making. If last week that was the making of the tabernacle itself, the structure, now this week is about the people who operate that structure. That's one thing. And the other one is, what do they dress, which is also part of the tabernacle work. So now there's a description, very detailed, about all the garments of the Kohanim, the priests, in the temple. And we have the stones on their, the stones, an engraving of the names on the stones. And there is also the issue of the Choshen, which is the breastplate of the high priest, that the names of, also there were names engraved over here also. And then the breastplate was being used in order to ask questions when the Israelites did not know how to deal with certain issues. So they will bring it to the Kohen, they will ask the question, and then letters, so the story is saying, the letters will start shining. They will take and write down the letters that are shining, and they will get the answer, like the oracle. But this is like something more elevated. Okay, this is connected to the Mishkan and the holiness. And so there is a lot about the garments of the Kohanim that has been used all the time till the destruction of the temple, the second temple at Jerusalem, in the year 70 CE. And then in verse 36, chapter 28, verse 36, Vasita tzitz zav tahor, and you should make the crown that the Kohen had. He had on his forehead a golden crown, and the name of God was inscribed on it. That was another very powerful tool in the temple. And so we have some, basically that's how the story goes. And then it goes into the work of the Kohanim, the sacrifices, and so on and so forth. Now, we can go into many issues over here, but let us try to say what is it in it for us, because, okay, what do we want to get from it for ourselves? Now, one thing that is very obvious and stems out to everyone who reads the parasha, the name of Moses does not appear even once in the whole parasha. Not even once. It doesn't say, and God spoke to Moses, saying, and then what did he say? It always goes, ve'ata tetzave, and you should do this and this. You should do this and this, and you should do this and this. And the question is, like, what's the difference? So, there are few levels of explanations. One level is that in the next parasha, Parashat Ki Tisa, there is the story of the golden calf. And in the story of the golden calf, there's a very interesting part, which says that God is saying to Moses, leave me alone, and I will destroy the whole nation in a moment, and I make from you a new nation. And Moses' answer is, if you do that, mechenina misifrecha shekatavta, erase me from your book. And to show us the power of the words, Moses' name has been erased from the whole parasha of Tetsave. Okay? So we learn from that, most people will tell us, we learn from that the power of saying things that, that if you think about it, you don't want to think about it. You don't want to say it. But beyond that, there's something much more powerful than that. What is the answer of the Creator? So then again, maybe not. So after he just wanted to destroy the whole nation and make Moses a new chosen nation, Moses says, no, remove me, erase me from your book. And the answer of the Creator is that he does not destroy the Israelites, and he goes on, and not just this, he gives us even a higher way to connect to the light. In addition to Mount Sinai Revelation, he gives Moses and the Israelites what is called the 13 attributes, which is right now, we're going to see it in next week's parasha. Something that is even stronger than the rest of the Torah, but it's not the place right now to discuss it. But what is really important over here, that here we see that a man, Moses, says something that has so much power and implication, because here it is that we were just like a step away from annihilation of a whole nation, and Moses stops it. What do we understand about it? What can we understand about it for us? And the answer is like this. As I said in a previous parashot, the book of Genesis is started book of Exodus is about how we go into achieving freedoms that we did not experience before in our lives. And that needs to go into the Exodus, which means the fight between Moses, which represents the light side inside us, and Pharaoh in Egypt, which is the dark side inside each one of us. That's the 6 weeks of the beginning of the reading of the book of Exodus. After you finish that fight, you have to settle down and start thinking about who am I and what is that I want to build. What are my life and what do I want to fill it with? And this is about the Mishkan, the tabernacle or the temple that is being described in Parashat Truma, which means when you build your life, you have to understand that building your life is not just building in a simple sense. Everybody builds a life. People open a banking account, they buy a house, they rent a house, they have furniture, they get married, sometimes they have a car, they have something they call building my life, okay? An identity. And here comes Parashat Truma and says, if you do not raise your identity and connect it to the light of the Creator, this is meaningless. You create an empty vessel, and there's no emptiness. Because the moment you leave the vessel empty, darkness crawls inside, or it's called also in the language of the Zohar, impurity. There's no just like, oh, I just did it. There's no just did it. Either you fill it up with spiritual, meaningful content that is connected to the light of the Creator because you made the effort and you had the intention and you made this connection willingly, choosingly, and consciously, or it becomes just void that is sucks to suck in troubles, negativity, and disasters. There's no in between. There's no in between. If it looks like it's in between, it's just a matter of time till the disaster will come out, because the Zohar in Parashat Truma says that troubles come for free. You want to connect to spirituality, you want to connect to holiness. Holiness is not just something up there, oh, that would be very nice to have some holiness. Because holiness is about, as my teacher used to say, holy with a WH. You want your life to feel holy, full, whole, and fulfilled. You need to fill it up with the light. And that needs hard work, says the Zohar. So after filling up that structure that you call it business, career, building a family, and we all know that building something that will be lasting, fulfilling, wholesome, that needs a lot of hard work and a lot of commitment. It doesn't come by just, oh, I just had this afternoon, so I decided to bring holiness to my life. It doesn't work this way. You have to have a commitment 24/7. And that's what the Torah is talking about. That how do you develop that commitment? Everything you do, you have to do it with the consciousness of Truma. And what does it mean, Truma? Raising it up, and now in Parashat Tetsave, it goes to the next level. The next level is about the Kohen. About the Kohen, and we know, and we said it, since we know that, you know what they say, the famous expression, an Englishman's home is his castle, but according to the Torah, our home is our temple. And I think that's much nicer, because a castle, so, you know, how long you're going to be fighting? Okay, but you want to fill up your castle with a content, then you have to turn it into a temple. Otherwise, it stays empty, it becomes a haunted castle, right? And England is full of haunted houses. Why? Nobody bothered to fill it up with holiness. And it's because of that, it's not a hole. It's just a castle. Haunted castle. Okay? Because it creeps in, the darkness creeps in when you don't fill it up with light. Remember that. Every home, every business, whatever you create as an identity can become a haunted identity, a haunted home, a haunted business if you do not really work in connecting it to the light of the Creator, because that's what we're here for, nothing else. So, now, when it says Ve'ata Tetsave, the words are very precise over here. The name of the parasha is Tetsave. Tetsave means, and you will order. You will order what? And it says, you will order the children of Israel. But didn't we say that commanding people, ordering people is not spiritual? So the Zohar has another explanation for that. Okay, and then we'll see how it's connected to Moses' dialogue with the Creator. And it says like this, Ve'ata tetzaveh bnei Yisrael, and you should order or command the children of Israel, Ve'ata akrev elecha et Aaron achicha, and you should bring close Aaron your brother and his sons, and so on. And says, I'm reading now from the Sulam, Rabbi Ashlag's commentary, verse 1. Amar Rabbi Chia, said Rabbi Chia, Ma shinui shebechan, what's the difference over here in this parasha? Mikol hamekomot, from all other places, as we asked before, shekatuv ve'ata akrev elecha, and you should bring close to you. Ve'ata tedaber, and you should talk to all the people that has chachmei lev, the wisdom, people with the wisdom of the heart. Ve'ata tetzaveh bnei Yisrael, and you should order or command the children of Israel. שלא כתוב כי בכל המקומות, it doesn't say like the other places. הוא משיב, and he answers, אלא הכל הוא בסוד עליון. All of this is connected to a supreme divine secret. כדי לכלול עמו השכינה, in order to include the Shekhinah, the divine presence, in everything you do. כי השכינה, because the divine presence, the Shekhinah is called Ata. Now, in simple Hebrew, today's Hebrew, Ata means you, in single. When you tell somebody, how are you? Okay? So that's you is Ata in Hebrew. Didn't change for the last 34 centuries. Not like in English, it was thou, all kinds of in Hebrew it says the same. Now, so it's very clear. Whoever knows Hebrew, Ata is Ata. Ata means you. Says the Zohar, no. When we are talking about the holy writings of the Torah and the blessings, we are not saying God you. Okay? When you say the word Ata, it is about bringing in the Shekhinah, the divine presence. How do you do that? Because the word Ata is can be divided into two parts. One is et, a word that does not exist in English and many other European languages, and hey. Et means when you want to say that you get, that you're talking of, or you're dealing with the whole thing, you use the word et before the noun of the object, the noun you're dealing with, which means when you say you want to bring Aaron et Aharon, Hamishkan et Hamishkan. Okay, what is et? Et is Aleph to Taf. The word et is Aleph Taf. Aleph means Aleph to Taf, equivalent to English A to Z. So when you say Ata is Aleph to Taf, and then bringing all of it from the upper divine world into the Hey, as we said last week, the Hey is Malchut, which means our reality, my personal reality. The Ata over here, that it is my personal reality that I have to bring in spiritual light from A to Z, from Aleph to Taf, et. And that's the word et over here. So when it says Ata, is you every time that you use the word Ata, it's about bringing in the supreme spiritual light, A to Z, the wholenessness of it. We spoke about wholesome, holy with a WH. Okay, so that's et. Et means from A to Z, the whole thing. Where to? From the upper world to this personal, physical, everyday reality. This is what Ata is about. So, Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, verse 2, in the Zohar, says Rabbi Yitzchak, O ha'elyon shu ze'anpin, the upper light, the supreme light, ve'or ha'tachton shu nukba, and the lower light, which is the vessel, the Shekhinah, klulim yachad b'milah ve'ata. But it doesn't say in this parasha all the time Ata, it says ve'ata. Again, Hebrew grammar, ve means and. The letter vav means A-N-D like in English, and, connection, connecting letter. However, the vav, whoever knows the name of God, as we say, the lower hey is the malchut, is the vessel, and the vav looks like the line connecting between above and below, heaven and earth. Example, how does the Torah start? With the letter bet. The bet, you have a line above the heaven, you have a line below the earth, and you have a vav connecting the two lines, connecting the heaven and the earth, and that's what the whole Torah is about. And that's why as we are coming close to Purim, and we know that when we speak about writing the Torah, which is that line connecting from above to below, the Torah is the vehicle, the pipe that brings the bliss from the upper world to the lower world. Every every part of the Torah is made of columns. And the columns look like the writing. They look like a valve, like a pipe. It goes from above to below. And also, most Torahs, the Torahs that are being written today, they make sure that every column starts with the letter Vav to show what this is about. The same thing about when we read the Megillah, the book of Esther, on Purim, in less than 2 weeks, then we have the same thing all over again. We have the whole Megillah. When we read the Megillah, you have to open up the whole parchment so it looks like a long Vav to show that the book of Esther is a pipe like the Vav that brings the light wholesome from above to below. That's one thing. Every column in the book of Esther starts in many, today it's like if it's a very special Megillah, it starts with the word Hamelech, the king. Which king? King of the universe, right? So, and if you go into the Midrashim, all these stories about the Megillah, they replace the Vav with the word the king. So every column in the Torah starts with a Vav. Every column in the Megillah starts with the king. So when the book of Esther talks about the king, it speaks about the king of the universe. When it speaks about Achashverosh, it speaks about the king of Persia. Okay, so it's a book full of hidden messages. That's why it's called Megillat Esther. The revelation, Megillah, which means the Megillah means a parchment, but it comes from the word Megillah legalot, to reveal. Esther means there was this queen of Persia, Esther, but in Hebrew it comes from the word lehastir, to conceal. So Megillat Esther means the revelation of what is concealed. So what's concealed is the God of the universe, the creator of the universe, is concealed in that story. It looks like it's a fairy tale story that the kids like to talk and speak about and play and go with the costumes, as Purim looks for many people like it's a holiday for kids, right? It's a nice kid story, one of those Disney stories. And then you have the princess and you have the king and you have that, and the bad guy, of course, Haman. So you have all the ingredients of a Disney story. I wonder how come they didn't make a Disney movie out of the Book of Esther, but that's sooner or later somebody has to make it. Okay, now, so as we go back to what we said, the Zohar continues, says if the Vav that begins Ve'ata is that connection to the Creator, and the Hey is us, so we have in the word, every word that appears in this parasha, Ve'ata, you have over here, שאתה אומר, ואתה מחיה את כולם, and you, ואתה, could be translated into and you, but note, it says, what and you give everybody their life support? No, Vav, et, Hey, ve'ata, that's what gives everything that's life, their life support. Which means, there is the Vav, draws in the Aleph to Taf, all the wholesome, the wholenessness from the upper worlds into this physical world, and that's what life is about. You want to be alive, you have to know how to bring that wholenessness, that holiness into everything you do. Then you will feel alive. Otherwise, you'll be running around like a headless chicken, running and trying and running and making an effort and trying to make a living and making money and making this and buying that, and whatever you build, it's going to be empty. It's going to be hollow, not holy, hollow. And then you wonder, why is it that I'm working so hard and I feel so much emptiness? This is exactly the story of so many people's lives. Because if you're not trained, if you're not focused on bringing the holiness into whatever you build, it's not going to come by itself. You have to want it, and you have to focus on it, and you have to realize that that's what you're looking for. So And it continues, and it says, "Al ken lo katuv." This is why it doesn't say, "V'ikravta et aron achicha," and you will bring Aaron, v'tzivita, and you will order. It says, because at that time, משום שבעת ההיא, היה שורה השמש וזעיר אנפין והלבנה שהוא נקבע, the time of the Exodus, the Israelites with Moses and Aaron, it was the time שהיה שורה השמש בלבנה. It was like a full moon. The sun shines and the moon reflects holy, WH again, wholesome, all the light, as we spoke about it last week. You look at the sky, the most darkest sky are full with light of the sun. How do you know? When you look at the moon. What is the light that is coming from the moon? It's not its own light. It's a light the moon is reflecting to us. If the moon was bigger, it will reflect more light. If we had 3 moons, it will be 3 times the amount of light being reflected. Because there's no limitation in the light. Because as the Zohar said last week, the whole universe is full of dark light. Why is it dark? It's God's light. It's the light of the creation. But that light is dark for us as long as we do not give it away, share it around. When we take that light and reflect it like the moon is reflecting, then we shine. Then it becomes from dark light, shining light. Shining white light has to be generated, created with a lot of effort, desire, and intention. Okay? And if you do not have that on everything you do, instead of shining light, it's full of dark light. And then it feels like it's hollow. It's not hollow. It's full of light that hasn't been manifested yet. Because you did not learn how to activate that light, and the way to activate it is by using it for others too. Simple wisdom, very hard to follow. Because we always making the accounting, do they deserve it? None of your business. You do it because you want to connect to the shining light. And that's why the Creator created a lot of people in need around us so we can be there for them. What if, you want to help somebody and you can't? You can't because you can't. You're not God. You cannot just do everything. You can do whatever you can do. Nobody is asking us to do what we cannot do. It's just we're being asked to return the light that we receive and to make sure that others enjoy it too. That's our job. Who will enjoy it? I'm not the one to decide. We are not like the creator of the world. We are just reflectors. Remember that. You see some light, reflect it. There's no light to reflect, don't reflect it. Which means, if the creator, as we said, gave you talent, use it for others. If it gave you money, use it for others too. Not just for yourself, not just for them. Use it. So, what if somebody needs from you money and you have talent and they don't want your talent? So you can't give it to them because you don't have it. To remind you, you cannot give what you have and you're not the creator. So you can't just be there of help to everybody all the time, and you just cannot go around with the guilt that I couldn't help this and I couldn't have that. You have to reflect the same thing with the moon. The moon wants to reflect the light of the sun, and it can reflect only what it gets. Okay? No more and no less. Now, how much of it can you reflect? There's a limitation. Sometimes it's part of it. The more you try, the more you work on it, that's more reflection that you create. Okay, so why is that when the Israelites were all united and the light of the Torah was shining on us on the Mount Sinai revelation, then it was like the moon and the sun are united as one, which means there is a reflection that is wholesome. That's the feeling of holiness that person feels from work, from family, from his home, from career, whatever. This is a wholesome thing. Now, all of that לשרות על אומנותה של המלאכה, so that will dwell on the work, the artwork of the tabernacle. Because if it doesn't dwell on the tabernacle, then it's not a tabernacle, it's just a hut. It's just a meaningless, lifeless structure that somebody built because he was too bored to do something else. ועל כן כתוב בהם ואתה, and that's why when it says ואתה, is to show there's a connection between heaven and earth, which is basically the calling of each one of us. The moment you are free, the moment you got out of Egypt, the moment you connected to the commitment, to the covenant with the Creator, and you're part of the covenant, now the message is very clear. You are supposed to connect heaven and earth. You are supposed to bring the divine light into your actions. אמר רבי אלעזר, מכאן נשמע שהשם יתברך היה שורה על אומנות של מלאכת המשכן. So said Rabbi Elazar, from here we hear that the Holy Creator was dwelling on the artwork of the Mishkan, the tabernacle. שנאמר אשר נתן השם חוכמה ותבונה בהמה. As it says that the people that were doing the artwork, all the men, the women, all of them that were involved with that there were people that the Creator gave in them chokhmah utvuna, in them wisdom and understanding, but it's not a physical wisdom. It's a wisdom that of the ability to connect heaven and earth, to be able not just to do something on the physical plane, but to add something that is of the divine. Okay. Rabbi Shimon Amar. So Rabbi Shimon said, that's verse 3 in the Sulam. מכאן נשמע שזעיר אנפין ונוקבה היו שורים על אומנות מלאכת המשכן. So from here we hear that Zeir Anpin and Malchut, which is the Vav and the Hey, the God, the Holy Blessed Be, and the Holy Spirit, the Shekhinah, were dwelling on the work of the tabernacle. שכתוב ואתה תדבר אל כל חכמי לב, אשר מילאתי והוא החוכמה. And you're going to talk to all wise, all people with the wisdom of the heart, that I fulfill them with the spirit of wisdom. Okay? So it says that I fulfilled him, spirit of wisdom, מילאתיו הוא החוכמה, שהיה צריך לומר אשר מילאתים, that I should have been fulfilled them. So why it's talking about the people with the wisdom of the heart? Why fulfilling him and not fulfilling them? Okay? Because the beginning of the verse is talking about them, plural. What is the single over here? So he says, which means fulfilling him, we're talking about the divine providence, the divine light of the upper worlds, one light into one vessel. And that's the wisdom of the building of the temple. Now, how is it connected to us? There's an amazing article of Noam Elimelech, Rabbi Elimelech from Lizhansk, that writes about what we just said. So he says like this. נראה לכאורה, so it looks like, that we have to understand איך אפשר, how could it be possible, שהצדיק יפעול נפלאות לרפות החולים? Which means, we hear about people that have the ability to heal the sick. It could be a righteous person with healing powers. It could be also a person that heals himself, okay, which we talk about a lot. ולהתיר אסורים, and to release the prisoners. And we learned, הלא אין כל חדש תחת השמש, there's nothing new under the sun. Or, how could you say that healing the sick, this is something new? Nothing new under the sun. Or releasing the prisoners. The same thing about when a tzaddik, the righteous person, he brings new commentary to the Torah. How could you say it's new? Because everything was already created. Everything was already created. So how can somebody bring new commentaries to the Torah? Nothing is new. מהיכן הייתה זאת הצדיק? How does the righteous person, which means the person who behaves in a righteous way, and remember, being righteous does not mean that you're perfect. Okay, don't go that far. Why? Because King Solomon says, Sheva yipol tzadik v'kam. A righteous person will fall 7 times and get up. What's the difference between an evil person and a righteous person? The evil person doesn't get up. He stays there bitter and miserable and sour, and he enjoys blaming, cursing, being upset, and he doesn't get over it. He stays with that negativity. A righteous person is not somebody that does not fall. As it says, "En tzaddik she'aseh tov ba'aretz v'lo yachta." There's no tzaddik who will do only good without sinning. Why? Because we're humans. And humans make mistakes. Why do we make mistakes? Because when we make mistakes, we realize where do we have to excel and to correct and to perfect. Remember, as I say many times, we are not here to be perfect. Whoever says it's perfect is dangerous. Very dangerous, because he's not aware of anything. If you're here, you're not perfect. We're not here to be perfect. We're here to perfect. Step by step, to perfect. A righteous person knows that he will fall and get up, and fall and get up till he does it proper. Then he will fall again and get up till he does it proper, which means that's all about perfecting. Now, so how would the tzaddik have that ability to heal the sick, to release the prisoners, and to bring words of wisdom that never been said before? Like, how could that be when it says there's nothing new under the sun? And Noam Elimelech is saying, Rabbi Elimelech of Lizhansk, the issue is that you have to understand, the Holy Creator, Hashem Yitbarach Baruch Hu, Imei Sharei Neora, the light is with him. The light is with him. He's the source of the light that everybody wants to connect to. V'nektiv, as it says, Vayomer Elohim yehi or. It says in Genesis, in the beginning, and God said, let there be light. Vayor, and there was light. Yesh lomar, הפירוש דהיינו באומרו יהי אור ויהי אור, when we say, and God said, let there be light, and there was light, שנתהווה אור חדש שם במקומו, that a new light has been generated, came into being, that's a better translation, came into being, a new light came into being in that place, and from there, ומשם נמשך האור למטה, and that light is being drawn down to our reality. ונמצא השורש נשאר למעלה, so the root stays up above, and וכן כל דבר ודבר עשה הקדוש ברוך הוא שורשו למעלה. And as we learn in beginner's course for Kabbalah, everything has a shorish, a root in the upper world, and it has a branch, a physical manifestation in the physical world. Okay? וכל הנעשה למטה, whatever we do down below in our physical reality, הוא על ידי התנועות שאדם מנענע ומתנוע השורש למעלה, is by the shaking of the root up above that shakes the branches down below. So when we see things happening in our world, is because it's the branches moving after the root is shaking, moving. And vice versa, you can do the same thing. When we build a Mishkan, when we light Shabbat candles, when we make the bracha, the blessing on the Shabbat bread, the challah, when we shake the lulav, when we use tefillin and talit and stuff like this, all what we do, we shake the branches. So by shaking the branches, we shake the roots. And then the root starts to bring in light into our actions. Rabbi Azaklori is saying, in order for that to happen is when you shake the branches, you have to be aware with your conscious mind that you're doing it in order to shake the roots, to shake the light in the upper world. That consciousness is becoming the vav, the conduit, the line of connection between the upper and the lower worlds. Now, וזהו, so what does that mean? וזהו רבות עשית, רוצה לומר שהרבה סיבות ופעולות פעלת ועשית אתה השם ונמצא שהשורש הוא למעלה. Okay, so all when it says that God made a lot of things, everything was done in the root, and then it makes its way down to our world. לכן נפלאותיך שאנו מחדשים, דהיינו רפואה, פרנסה וכל דבר, ומחשבותיך, דהיינו סודות התורה אלינו, אנחנו יכולים לעשות הכל. So whatever we bring anew to this world, inventions, sustenance, creativity, it's all drawing from above. When it comes down to this world, it looks like it's new. It's not new. It's just being renewed. What's new about it is that the revelation in this physical world is new. And that's how we feel like creators in our realm, in our playground, which like we are the kids that play God in our world by making new things. They're not new. We just brought them. If you think about invention, inspiration, okay? What is it? Where do you bring it in from? Where do you vent it in from? From the root level, the upper holy world, into this physical world. When we bring it in, we turn something that is empty and hollow into full and holy. And that's when we complete it, it feels like it's new. It's not really new, but we made it become complete, our actions. So then in our realm, it feels new. And that's why it's fulfilling us so much to make something and feel the perfection from that something when you do it right. וזהו שאמר הפסוק, שאמר הקדוש ברוך הוא למשה רבינו, ואתה תצווה. When the Creator says to Moses, and you should command, לשון ציווי, commanding, הוא נופל, this is relating, נופל על השפעות ברכה ורחמים, on the bliss of blessings and mercy, כמו שנאמר, וציוויתי את ברכתי, and I will order my blessing. Which means, so what do I mean? What you have to do, ועמד מפי הקדוש ברוך הוא ורשום הכל בשורשו, רק גם אתה תצווה לנענע השורש העליון. So when we prepare Shabbat, and we put the white tablecloth on the table, and we clean the house, and we light the Shabbat candles, and we bring the Shabbat food, and we make the blessing with that consciousness, what do we do at that time? By shaking the physical world, by the actions and the words that we say, together with the consciousness to connect it to the upper root. We shake the upper root and we order the bliss and the light to come down to our reality. At that moment, we feel wholesome. At that moment, we feel complete. At that moment, we feel like we just did our calling as being fulfilled. Because like God, we created something new, something whole, something fulfilling. That is the same to everything, not just on Shabbat. But we have to realize that as, we are the priest, the Kohanim in our home, in our business, in our everyday life. We have to order it in, because Rabbi Zakloria is saying, if you do not imagine that in every action, you bring in the divine light from above to below, you didn't do anything. And that's why V'ata Tetsave, it's the same word of a mitzvah, a precept. What is a mitzvah? When we make an action that orders the divine supreme light, we ordered it into our physical reality and action. In that moment, we take something that is dull, empty, and hollow to make it a divine thing. That's how two people will make the same cake, build the same house. One will be hollow, one will be holy. One will be a temple, one will be a haunted castle. The Arizal is saying you have to visualize that spiritual light in the root, and you have to order it. Now we go back to Moses. When Moses said to God, and God said, leave me alone and I'll kill them all in an instant. And I'll make from you a great nation. And Moses says, no, you're not going to do that. I'm right now ordering you that we are going to live, because if not, you erase me from your book. And immediately, Moses' name is being erased from Parashat Tetsave. But what does it mean? To show the power of the words and the meaning. Moses did it out of total self-sacrifice for everybody else, because he says, if I'm not there for them, what am I? Nothing. That's his version of to be or not to be. Either Hashem, either you bless us all together, or you remove all of us together. If you destroy them, take me with them. In that moment, Moses created wholesome. He brought us that ability so we can order what we feel like. We order, and the Creator does it. And I'll finish with that story that will fit that. There's a story, very famous story. I'm sure that a lot of you heard it already. One day, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai comes out and he sees it's dark. It's noontime. What's dark? He goes to the upper worlds and he sees this dark, big, terrible angel blocking the light of the universe. He says, "What are you doing over here?" And that dark angel says, "The Creator sent me to destroy the world." Says Rabbi Shimon, "That's not possible. Go to the one who sent you and tell him that there are enough tzaddikim in this world to protect the world. Just tell him that." And the angel goes, he comes back, and he says to Rabbi Shimon, "The Creator told me not to listen to you. Not to listen to you." So Rabbi Shimon says, "What do you mean not listen to me? Go to the one who sent you and tell him that I and my son, it's enough to protect the world." The angel goes, he comes back, he says, "The Creator told me not to listen to you." So Rabbi Shimon says again, "Go to the one who sent you and say that I'm here, that's enough, and don't ever come back. Because if I see you coming back, I'll destroy you. I'll destroy you, you'll become nothing." So the dark angel goes back, and he's afraid to come. Then comes a voice from heaven, says, "Praiseworthy are the tzaddikim," like Rabbi Shimon, that it says about them, that the Creator that the tzaddik, the righteous person, makes a decree, and the Creator fulfills his decree. What does it mean? As we say again, our job is to order light, bliss, happiness, fulfillment, beauty, wholenessness into this world. If we don't do that, if we don't order it, if we are not aware that it's coming from above, it will always feel hollow, empty, nothing. And we have that power. We are vested in that. That power is vested in our hands. And that's our calling. And that's what we have to train ourselves day by day, hour by hour, in every action. If it's a career, if it's building a home, building a family, a community, whatever. It's all about one thing: ordering the bliss and the wholenessness into this world in everything we do. When you do that, everything we do will be blessed, full of bliss, happiness. And that's the special gift of this parasha. Thank you, and have a great week.